If you choose to follow this method, I am not responsible for any damage or injury you cause to yourself, others, or your RC. If you don't know what you're doing, then please don't do it. Before I get started, I have to give a major shout out to Squirrel RC. I originally learned how to do this from his channel, so if you want to, you can go ahead and check out the original video by clicking on the link in the video description. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and go over everything that you're going to need in order to do this. First of all, you're going to need a heavy duty degreaser, and oven cleaner is the best way to go. Easy Off is a brand that I highly suggest you stick with. I used to use Grease Lightning, but they changed the formula and it's not as strong. Easy Off is the quickest way to get this done. Now when you read all the stuff on the back, guys, which I highly suggest you do, this has very dangerous chemicals in it. You should not use it in an enclosed area, and don't get it on your skin or eyes. Wear gloves and use it in a well-ventilated area. Now, since you are going to be using corrosive chemicals, you're going to need something to put it in, and a plastic container is the best way to go. Do not use a paper cup or something that's going to fall apart from liquids. You're also going to need some paper towels. The next thing that you're going to need is metal polish. Now guys, there is numerous brands out there, and from what I've experienced, all of them work, so it doesn't really matter which one you go with. However, you are going to need a cloth, one that's disposable. If you don't have one of these rags lying around, feel free to go ahead and use an old t-shirt. And the last thing I'm going to be using is just some needle nose pliers. This will help me get all the parts out of the container that are going to be soaking in the degreaser. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate how to de-anodize aluminum parts by doing the aluminum shock bodies for my Losi Aftershock. As you can see, they are blue, and I would prefer them to be silver. That way they would match the overall theme of this RC. The first step is to go ahead and take off the aluminum part that you're going to be de-anodizing. Wash them with warm water and soap. If there's any stickers on them, you're going to have to take those off as well. You need this part to be absolutely clean. After you removed and cleaned all the parts you're going to be de-anodizing, grab your plastic container and your oven cleaner and head to a well-ventilated area. Now you can go ahead and put all your aluminum parts in the container. When you're doing this, go ahead and make sure that all the parts are not touching each other. You want that degreaser to get on every part of the surface that's going to be de-anodized. Now guys, I will let you know right now, anything that is resting on the bottom of the container is not going to be de-anodized. You're going to have to flip it upside down, and you're going to have to de-anodize the bottom as well. But once you get the container like this, go ahead and bring out your degreaser. And now all you have to do is spray everything. Do not be timid about this. You want to get a lot on there, guys. Just be sure not to get any on your hands or anywhere else. Once you have a good amount on there, go ahead and leave the area and let it sit. 10 minutes has gone by and you can see that it's already starting to de-anodize. The time it takes to de-anodize is going to vary from RC part to RC part depending on who made the part and what anodizer they used. So at this point I suggest that you check on each part every 10 minutes and spray down a little bit more each time you do so. Now when your parts start to look like this, you need to take them out and start wiping them off. Because guys, all that is basically the anodizer is starting to chemically cook and turn black. Believe me, it will come off. This is what the metal polish is for. What you can wipe off with a paper towel, you can easily polish off. Now as you can see, I went ahead and wiped it down, and there's still a little bit more pieces of anodizer on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back into the container, spray it one more time, and let it sit. It's not going to take very long for the rest of the anodizer to come off. Now if you let the aluminum parts sit for too long, they're going to end up looking like this, and guys, you want to avoid this. In fact, when it does get to this state, I think the best step is to just go ahead and use some 400 grit sandpaper and sand it off. Once you have the parts looking like this, then it's time to go ahead and start polishing them. Once you have your aluminum part de-anodized, it's time to go ahead and polish it. Now you can see that I went ahead and polished a little bit right here, and when you compare it to the rest, it's really dull. So in order to do this, just go ahead and get your polish, put it on a clean part of cloth, and then you're just going to get your aluminum part and then just simply rub it on there. And you'll see that the cloth is going to start to turn black. This is why you use a cloth that you can get rid of afterwards, guys, because after this, it's not going to be reusable. But yeah, you're just going to go ahead and keep rubbing it, and you'll see it get darker and darker. What you're doing is you're removing all the imperfections from the surface. Now, when you get enough of it polished off, you're just going to go to a dry piece of the cloth, and you're going to go ahead and polish it. And then this is when you're going to notice that nice shine coming out. You're going to have to do this with every single one of the pieces that you de-anodized. It's a very long process, guys, but believe me, it's well worth it. After you polished your part all the way, go ahead and put it in a paper towel and give it a final buff. And guys, this is when you're really going to notice that nice shine to it. Now when you compare this to one part that has not been buffed, there's a major difference, guys, but it does take some time to get it to this state. But believe me, if you just keep working at it, you'll get it there. Once you're done polishing, all you have to do is wash it one more time with some warm water and soap, and you are finally done. I hope this video helped you out, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.